Hi, and welcome to a very special episode of CorrsCast. This first episode is part of a two-part series focused on the steps the band took to create and produce their unique and now iconic sound. Steps that would take them from their hometown of Dundalk and experimentation in dance and pop songs to the recording and production desk of the world's biggest and most successful producer of the time, none other than David Foster. Thanks to the wonderful documentary Something Else in the Meantime by Kieran Tannum, many fans now know the road to the development of the sound created for the early demos began on June 14th, 1990, with the four Corrs siblings being part of some 3,000 hopefuls being auditioned by John and Ros Hubbard of Hubbard's Casting for potential parts in Alan Parker's The Commitments movie.
Okay, just tell the camera your name, can you?
Sorry,
Tell the camera your name.
my name's Jim Corrs.
Is this the first time you've sung in public?
Well, in public, yeah, that's the first time in public for the whole lot of us together. Caroline Corrs.
And how old are you, Caroline?
I'm 17.
Just tell the camera your name, Sharon, can you?
Sharon Corrs.
I was terrified, really terrified. So was Jim. So was Caroline. Angie was 15 going, I'm great. She was,
The film's auditions were primarily for live bands, giving the siblings their first opportunity to perform together as a group. Both of the cover songs they chose were originally performed by black female artists, namely Amy Stewart's 1979 cover of Knock on Wood and Quincy Jones's I Don't Go For That, as sung by Saida Garrett, which was released the year before their audition in 1989. Worthy of note is that 7 years later, the band would be covering another of Saida's co-written songs, What I Know. It was on the back of seeing the siblings perform covers of these two songs that Ros Hubbard saw their potential, and the connection of the band and John Hughes was cemented. It would clearly be a natural conclusion for the band to start writing songs which were similar to these first steps towards success, with the band retaining some of the dance elements and experimenting using both synth beats and drum machines, with aid in part of musical influences being heard by Sharon Corrs as she managed the record sleeve in Williamson's Mall in Dundalk, and Jim's prior experience with bands such as The Fountainhead and Dolores Keane. Unbeknown to them, 4 years of developing their sound had begun.
I would have been very inspired by what I was doing with her and the music that she introduced me to. And, I took elements of that into what became eventually the Corrs sound.
While many interviews rightfully comment on the foundation of the band at this pivotal time in their lives, hardly any spotlight has been given to the band's creative process in their years of experimentation. It was this focused experimentation that fully formed the blend of music we now know as the sound of the Corrs. Thankfully for us, this hard work can be best heard through the demos produced by the band in the early 90s, as they tirelessly worked in hopes of being signed by a record company. They were able to focus on this thanks to a publishing deal worth $100,000, allowing them to focus solely on the creation of their music at this time.
Luckily enough, through Beacon Communications, which financed the film The Commitments, we got a publishing deal. That gave us the money so that we wouldn't have to go off and get, real steady jobs. So it gave us money to buy equipment and to keep ourselves going so we could write music. So that seemed at the time like nothing was happening, but it was a really major deal because that's why we've got so much material behind us.
Some of the first material produced by the band in this period clearly gives us a sense of the different directions they were experimenting in. Nothing illustrates this better than the demo which was given the lead track on the cassettes pressed at Trend Studios in Dublin, 1991, and whose liner notes proudly ask the listener to contact the band's manager, John Hughes. This track, which has never been heard since distribution, is named The Beat Lives On.
The right opportunity came when we got a chance to audition for the film The Commitments. We started to write together after we got a deal that meant that I was living in Dublin at the time, and it meant that I could afford to move back home and to live off this development deal. and to concentrate on getting the band together. We were writing dance music at the time. I mean, the first couple of songs that we wrote were essentially dance. We were trying to find our musical feet. We had no idea what direction we were going in. We didn't even think of trying to include Sharon's violin playing in it. It took us a while to kind of cop on to utilising that instrument, and then other instruments, tin whistle and the box and the baron, and it kind of all just expanded from there.
Heard in these early demos is their first foray into writing. Andrea's vocal production draws clear influence from producers such as the legendary Nile Rodgers in his work on Madonna's second album, Like a Virgin. The vocal effect he used pitch shifted her voice, making it appear brighter and younger than her normal tone, which can be easily recognised in hits such as Into the Groove, Material Girl, and the album's title track, Like a Virgin.
If the song got beyond my range, Jim speeded the track up and I soared like a chipmunk. And it was pop, as 90s pop could be. Brass-stabbed D50 explosive drama time.
Well, we did strive early on to come up with a unique sound, and it took us quite a while, but we eventually did, as we felt at the time, and were very passionate about it, and that was the combination of traditional Irish music, rock and pop.
Under the experienced guidance of G. Mark Roswell, Polygram Music allowed him to spend the publishing money as he saw fit.
I just said, you stay there, you work at your home studio, we'll build you the studio. And even Polygram, they go, what? You're going to just give this, I said, look, the deal I have X amount to spend and I'm going to spend it like that.
I mean, we are working on this 5 years. We had a little 8-track studio in a bedroom, and that's where we demoed and wrote and recorded all our stuff, you know. So we were pursuing a record deal and pursuing something like this for a long time.
We do believe that if you put an awful lot of energy and hard work into any project, no matter what it is, it eventually does bear fruit. We believe that. I used to write stuff years ago myself, you know, stuff that will never get out. It's in the vaults forever. But as a band, the very first song that we wrote was shortly after the audition for the Commitments.
Nobody will ever hear. Maybe if it's changed or whatever, but when we first started, we were obviously experimenting. So it took a little bit while to develop our sound. So if anybody's got those tapes, get rid of them.
It was a natural process. It was really a product of our influences coming from Ireland. We're heavily influenced by pop and rock music coming from America and also from England. And then the whole time we're growing up, there's like constant traditional Irish sessions, constant traditional Irish music being played in pubs and on street corners and everywhere. So basically our sound is just literally a product of our influences.
And featured as the B-side on the same demo tape, another pop-focused song was produced. The song All Over. This track's rhyming verses focus on the theme of disappointment in a relationship being over and at the emotional fallout of its dramatic conclusion. While we can't speak to the life experience behind the written lyrics of this song, what certainly comes across is the unmistakable raw talent needed to build and create a catchy pop song from the ground up. Weaving lyrics and melody against the keyboard-played synths and bass line, Andrea's vocal melodies shine through with unmistakable confidence.
It was very clear that Andrea was going to be the lead singer. She'd sit on this chair and just bump along to music, singing, and she would, to me, it had an amazing capacity to pick up lyrics and melody lines very, very fast. That was her kind of her natural territory.
One of the standout elements that can be heard is the synth trumpets played by Jim on his Roland W30 keyboard. This would have been recorded through the Tascam 688 8-track MIDI studio and processed through their newly purchased Macintosh LC computer. On this, they ran the then state-of-the-art sequencing software Performer by Mark of the Unicorn, which was used to layer the recorded elements alongside each other to build this song piece by piece. We also hear the band's first examples of the layering of backing vocals on top of each other to produce a blend of harmonising sound. As the song progresses, this blend of voices is ultimately stripped back to just Andrea singing an ethereal solo before the second pre-chorus. As their songwriting and production developed, it's moments like this that would be eventually filled in by Sharon on the still as yet unused violin.
I rented the Gate Lodge at Bunny Cox's, the horse training place, just beside the ESB station on the back of the wall, and set up a recording studio there. And we did all the pre-production for the first album, for Forgiven Not Forgotten, and most of the writing. We were so single-mindedly focused on the goal of achieving success that we didn't entertain it not happening. But that was all of it. That was all a slow process. I think it took 3 or 4 years before anything started to move. So we were putting in the hard graft.
I think that was part of our success, the naivety. There's a kind of blind faith. Yeah, of course we're here. We'll do it, of course. So nearly that, of course, became reality. But really, when I look back, I went, God, there's so many obstacles. There's so many reasons not to be successful.
Thankfully for us, the band's development wasn't all over. The third and final track on the same demo tape is strikingly different. In contrast to the pop and dance songs we've heard previously, in the same year, their father Jerry had written prose alongside Jim's chords laid down on keyboard. There are 2 songs that are known to have been developed in this way. The first being I Feel Love, which has never been heard, and Sióg, which was eventually chosen by the band as the second song to be performed for their TV debut in June later that year.
Where the young eyes laden with dreams near forsaken radius.
The very first offerings, Dad wrote lyrics into Jim's keyboard melodies, like slotting shapes into a puzzle.
Dance to our measure the earth.
Leading up to this TV appearance, Bill Whelan, of later Riverdance fame, enlisted John Hughes to help with the task of finding musical talent. This was the same role John had had on the Commitments film the year prior.
Ian McGarry approached me to be the musical director for an RTE Sunday night series called An Eye on the Music. I would do the orchestrations required, conduct the orchestra. I enlisted the help of my old colleague John Hughes from the now disbanded Minor Detail.
It's in no doubt that it was this connection that landed the siblings the appearance on the show. The partnership of John Hughes and Bill Whelan had been successful 10 years prior, when Bill, or Billy as he was professionally credited back then, had produced Minor Detail, the self-titled album from the band of John and his brother Willie Hughes. Live orchestration was then added to Sióg by Bill Whelan and Andy O'Callaghan for the band to perform with the RTE Concert Orchestra live on the show.
I think the first TV show we did was live with like a 100-piece orchestra. We were dying. We were just trembling so badly and physically sick at stages and everything. But if you throw yourself in the deep end, you kind of learn at a very rapid rate.
Learning.
Unlike the fuller orchestrated backing track heard in this TV broadcast audio, the origins for this song have at least 2 differing recorded demos. In the earliest of the 2, we can clearly hear that the percussion has been built using finger snaps and shakers. This is then layered with acoustic guitar by Jim and keys by Caroline. Some programmed bass is entered into the mix, and the track is ready for Andrea to give her vocals.
I think that we were collectively ambitious, if there's such a thing. It was actively ambitious in how we worked, how hard we worked. There was a real collective enthusiasm and ambition.
Strangely they pause in the midst of the dance. Young eyes restore towards wisdom returns. Fairies forsake them, sad music.
On a later Bill Whelan produced version of this song, the finger snaps and shakers are gone, but Andrea gives a richer and fuller vocal take while being accompanied by Caroline on the piano. And it's in this song we hear the first recorded example of Sharon playing the violin for the band.
The fiddle wasn't originally a part of the Corrs thing. I don't know, I suppose because we just didn't think of it. Everything was really pop orientated at the time, and it was also really techno. Well, we were pretty young at the time. Caroline and Andrew were 15 and 16 when we started writing music together. I was about 19. Jim was, 25, 26. You know, when you're kind of 15 and 16, you're not really listening to traditional music. You're kind of, you want to be cool, you know, you're listening to all the stuff in the charts. So we were writing, I think, very pop-orientated music, very extremely pop. And then just as we started getting used to writing and, you know, getting better at it, all our influences started coming into it. And then the third song, we already had traditional in it.
Later in this Gatehouse recorded demo, we can hear Caroline stop playing the keyboard refrain mid-take. At this moment, Andrea can be heard in the background mic bleed, saying, "What's happening?" To which Jim calmly replies while continuing to play guitar, keep going. And we are very glad that they did.
For people to understand how beautiful that process is, how beautiful it is for this young family where the Commitments obviously was the basis for a lot of this and Alan Parker's amazing movie and people getting noticed. But the fact of the process of creating songs and making music, getting those songs good enough and the sound of that good enough that would be taken by a major label and had that kind of success, it's a beautiful thing. And the creative process is what is the most fun and the most important thing to me in all of those things.
Key elements from this natural exploration would start the band down a path of blending both of these musical styles into something they could finally call their own. The most well-known early Corrs song from this period is the fan favourite Mystery of You, featured earlier in the same episode of An Eye on the Music. What fans may not realise, however, is that the band's TV debut with this song used the original demo as its backing track, complete with early drum machine examples of pre-programmed drum breaks and MIDI bass parts.
Everything hasn't really gone away from acoustic instruments, bar the guitar, but it was all about keyboards and drum machines, and then we came up with this blend of traditional Irish within our music, which was, I suppose, the thing that separated us from every other band around at the time.
The first songs that we wrote together did not sound like the songs that we've written currently. After a couple of songs, we sort of came across this blend of traditional Irish music, pop and rock, and that is what you hear now today.
Another thing that does shine through is Andrea's vocal recording. Without the added pressure of a live audience and TV cameras recording her every arm-swinging moment, her voice soars, with lyrics stating the desire to seek and not hide. In this demo recording, any perceived timidness we see on the TV soundstage is gone, and it's here where her voice sounds its most at home, recording with her siblings in Dundalk.
This must have sounded so ridiculous to my friends at school. And I know people would have said, is she out of her mind? We did have something inside us saying, this is really where we need to go. This is what we love and this is where our talents lie, and do it.
Well, actually, two of us were still at school, the youngest being myself and Andrea. And we were both at school, and Jim and Sharon were doing other sort of jobs. They'd left school, and we'd had a small bedroom studio around the corner from our house at home. And what we did was we'd go around there every day and we'd record and write together. And this was all happening while we were still at school. So it would have been about youngest being about 16, 17 when we first started and decided to get the band together. But it took obviously about 5 years before we actually got the record deal.
Long before recording their own cover of the Fleetwood Mac classic Dreams, they had already developed a track by the same name. Experimentation at this time led Sharon's violin recording to be doubled, allowing her playing to take centre stage and set the melody of the chorus to follow as the song begins. Few songs by the band actually follow this structure, but an exception to this would be Love to Love You, which begins with its chorus. At just over 5 minutes long in total, and featuring similar chords to the keyboard refrain found in Mystery of You, as well as the exact same drum machine loop, with lyrics asking us to take a chance at change and to make all our dreams come true, this bubblegum pop track, which is seemingly simple at first hearing, still holds up as a wonderfully crafted home studio recording.
I would describe our music as a fusion of modern and traditional Irish instruments. That's the way I would describe it. I played violin. I started playing classical violin, but over the last few years I've been very much influenced by traditional Irish players and traditional Irish music. So I would say what I play now is a crossover.
Dreams, as written on the demo tapes produced at this time, is always marked with a penciled star. We can only assume this denotes its importance and a track they wish to take further at some point. Ultimately, no other versions are known to exist, and no evidence suggests this was worked on again moving forward.
With the Corrs, I probably worked with them 3.5 years. And what I did was, rather than getting a studio and doing that, since Jim could do the recording, everyone was there. I said, why don't you just start writing songs and just keep passing them to me? It was the perfect time because it allowed us to tweak the songs, listen to the songs, make changes, work on the vocal arrangements. So it just was an amazing process.
Unique to this demo, we hear Sharon's violin being accompanied by Jim on the keyboard, playing a full MIDI string section.
Jim was older, he was more experienced, he'd played with a lot of bands, he was more experienced chordally, how to put a song together, and also he was much more technically minded. He had the studio set up, melody, lyrics, I suppose Andrew did a lot more of that. We were all still quite young, Andrew was 16, we were still in school when we first started, so we were all just learning, really we were all learning together in a lot of ways.
Finally, we hear the synth-based fade-out and Andrea repeating the phrase, "Dreams come true." A reality for the band that would be found in the pursuit of other songs they had yet to write. Songs that would stand the test of time. But at this point, they were still far from having that dream a reality.
If you put in the work and the songs are there, it's no different than what Quincy Jones or Rick Rubin, Robert Glasper or Terrence Martin. You have to really, really do the work if you want something that's going to truly stand out.
On the back of Bill Whelan knowing the prior determination and drive that John Hughes had for his own music, and seeing he would now direct that same focus towards supporting this new band's talent, Bill agreed to produce a number of demos with the band at his studio in Dublin. The demo tapes produced from this period, all handwritten by Andrea in their track order, give clearer focus to the siblings' harmonies. A foresight and decision that has stood them the test of time and further set them apart from other acts.
Sometimes I'm a stranger to myself. I don't recognize my...
This ballad, Stay Here With Me, or Stay With Me as the title later evolved, is a song focused on themes of breaking free from fear and finding yourself with the confidence given by another person committing.
You should walk away or leave. Let me be, 'cause it's so hard.
This track gives clear evidence of the change in production. Gone are the reused drum machine loops, giving the song structure on their own. We now hear samples of Celtic drums in the mix, reminiscent of the orchestration found on Sióg, to further flavour the songs with a more Irish feel.
Someday I believe that I'll find a way to break free from the hold that my fear has on me. Someday you'll see that I know who I want to be. If you just say that you'll stay here with me.
The words were in the day and from somewhere in the heart, yes. But it is also true that they were very much straitjacketed in the rigid laws of rhyme in those nursery days, and the fit of their individual rhythms into the all-important melody was paramount.
Ask you to understand when it's me that is so blind. Oh, it's not what it seems. Life does everything, tomorrow's a dream. Someday I believe that I'll find a way to break free from the hold.
Violin solos are now seen to be an essential ingredient. It's clear from these next few demos that they were honing their craft and refining the use of these elements to make a unique blend of sound.
And I think probably on about the fifth or sixth number that we'd written, we realised that, hang on, this could be a unique sound. Let's go down, let's explore down this avenue further, which is what we did.
Unlike previous tracks produced at the Gatehouse in Dundalk, we can hear the guitar has been mixed to the right channel and piano panned to the left, leaving space front and centre for vocal harmonies to have maximum effect, something their music from this point onwards would be characteristically known for.
Tomorrow's a dream. Someday I believe that I'll find a way to break free from the hold that my fear has on me. Someday you'll see that I know who I want to be. If you just say that you.
And for me, the joy of being able to overdub and, you know, put guitar on with keyboard. When I was able to compose music, that's when I really, really started to enjoy it.
There are a number of versions of this demo. The first developed version weighs in at a lengthy 5 minutes runtime. Later mixes of this, while they are essentially the same, cut out a full 45 seconds from its fade out.
So we knew what the Corrs could do, and that was apparent. You just knew that that group could write, and having John there to help, who understood it, that was also a very important factor.
Another track worth mentioning had an original working title of Dreaming, and starts from a gentle fade-in of a piano and backing beat, leaving little room for us to confuse it with the aforementioned demo named Dreams. We can clearly distinguish these beats as those of a Linn drum machine with live recorded drum samples. As the title clearly suggests, Andrea is singing about dreaming of a loved one, comparing them to the mystery of the stars or the cool breeze at summer. This is proclaimed by her singing out in the chorus, stating that she dreams about them with a deep love that's felt when they're together. Themes like this would still fill her later writing for Forgiven Not Forgotten, and again, Talk on Corners, where dreaming, sleeping and waking are seemingly a constant source of inspiration. Then creative brilliance once again, with an electric guitar riff pre-chorus, before we are hit with the now perfected siblings harmonies. We also hear a piano and violin solo that the Corrs sound is now renowned for.
I think it's true to say that we were moved and excited more by music than by words in those days. Mutually exclusive they are not, though, nor will they ever be, and this is the song every songwriter is trying to write, I believe, when the music cuts your heart out, describing the true meaning in the words. Often we repeated verses. We treasured every moment of a 6-minute middle eight until Johnny broke the spell. Enough is enough. But we could have a verse happily. Fewer words to write, to repeat.
This is a great example of how they built many of the songs during this period, creating a verse and chorus, and simply repeating the same verse and pre-chorus again as a placeholder to stretch the song out. This would then be backfilled with different lyrics for the verses and pre-chorus if the song seemed worthy of it. If not, focus was then brought to the next song and the next piece of inspiration to start writing it. Sadly, there are no other known versions of this song. We can only conclude that they didn't decide to move forward with it. Perhaps they simply ran out of ideas on how to end the song. One possible evidence for this is the abrupt stop to the song, with giggling still audible. As the band continued to focus on harmonic blends, a standout track in the demos of this period is the upbeat song Really Over. opening immediately with a classically bowed trad pop riff by Sharon. Andrea sings lyrics describing the ending of a relationship and escaping the clutches of a controlling ex-lover. Playful harmonies abound throughout this demo, and are especially used to skillfully reinforce the chorus and its confident stand to move on with life, declaring, "I'll take no more."
We all loved coming up with harmonies together. We still do. We can feel the resonance, a sort of buzz or phasing when we sing together. Something about the vocal chords being so similar and yet coming from 4 individuals. It seems to grow warm. I like to imagine it's the sound and vibration of the minutest differences rather than the similarities.
We also again hear the chorus end with a drum break before beginning the next verse. Something we have now heard repeatedly from Jim's programming at this time, leaving the listener to quite literally take a beat.
Well, mainly what area I would handle is I would handle blending the modern technology with the instruments. So I would do the programming. I handle the computers and all of that and the keyboards.
Along with this, a bass line is heard that dances effortlessly around the melody, bringing with it a joy that's hard not to want to move along with. This blend isn't just catchy, it's purposeful, thought out, and expertly crafted to provoke maximum emotion.
I think if music provokes any sort of emotion, it's working. I mean, that's what you want. Laughing, crying, happy, whatever.
The band used the publishing money they saved from producing and programming in Dundalk on the all-important professional studio recording time. A brilliant financial decision, which meant they had at least 25 songs to choose from, leaving them the ability to record only the best. By now, their sound was almost fully formed, and after 2 years of work, I'm sure all the siblings felt more than ready to hunt for that all-elusive record deal.
And it was great for us in a sense. It gave us a lot of experience within the studio, and I think it also got us ready for to have some material, at least to give to a record company when the time came.
But it was clear that once they found the vocal sound and the writing, and look, it could have been that I wasn't right, and you've given the money to the studio and the songs just aren't that good, and you're never going to go to that next spot.
To get a shot at achieving that next spot and be picked up by a record company, a showcase would be needed. Calls were made, songs chosen, and a date was set. It was time to show their first audience what they had been working on.